Okay, I need to stop what I'm doing and talk to you about what is happening right now, because the atmosphere is not waiting for anyone. As I'm sitting here filming this video, right now, today, Friday, April 24th, there are active tornado watches in Kansas and Oklahoma. A tornado struck the city of Enid, Oklahoma last night, damaging homes, closing Vance Air Force Base and sending first responders into emergency search operations in the early morning hours. A powerful tornado in Oklahoma on Thursday ripped roofs off buildings, destroyed homes, knocked down power poles, and forced an Air Force base to close. At least 10 people were injured, with structural damage reported across multiple parts of Enid, with homes sustaining roof loss and, in some cases, complete structural failure. And that is not the end of this. That is the middle of this, because right now, today, there is an enhanced risk of severe thunderstorms across eastern Kansas and northern Oklahoma, with all severe hazards expected, including tornadoes, very large hail, and damaging winds. Tornado watches are posted. Warnings are dropping. Storms are on the radar right now as you watch this, and the weekend hasn't even started. What I'm about to walk you through in the next 10 minutes is one of the most relentlessly active stretches of severe weather I have tracked in years. It started Monday. It is still going right now on Friday. And the setup rolling into this weekend and into next week is not backing down. If anything, it is getting more organized, more targeted, and more dangerous for specific communities that are directly in the path of what's building. Let's go. There is no time to waste. Before I get into what's coming, I need to give you the full picture of what this week has already produced, because the numbers are genuinely staggering, and they matter for understanding just how much the atmosphere has been delivering lately. Storm surveys have confirmed at least 80 tornadoes from last Friday's severe weather outbreak alone, stretching 650 miles across the central United States. The strongest tornadoes, 2 EF3s, occurred in Wisconsin. Despite the intensity and number of storms, no lives were lost. 80 tornadoes in a single day. The biggest single-day tornado outbreak of 2026 so far, and we got through it without fatalities, which is nothing short of remarkable, and speaks to the importance of warnings, preparedness, and people taking those warnings seriously. But the week did not stop there, not even close. A corridor from eastern Iowa to southern Wisconsin and northern Illinois has been remarkably active. The Storm Prediction Center has outlooks at least part of the NWS Chicago forecast area for severe weather, 15 days so far in 2026, including an unusual number of days at a level 3 enhanced or higher. NWS Chicago has issued 128 severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings, a record high number through April 19th. As of April 19th, there have been at least 20 tornadoes in the NWS Chicago forecast area. The typical number in an entire calendar year is between 10 and 20. The entire year's worth of tornadoes in the Chicago NWS area, already done by April 19th. And then this week happened on top of that. Tornadoes were reported in Oklahoma, Iowa, and Kansas on Thursday, and damaging hail, including about the size of tennis balls, was also reported. The Enid tornado event occurred within a broader severe weather setup where the SPC issued an enhanced risk for parts of northern Oklahoma and southern Kansas. The SPC received 17 tornado reports on April 23rd, 7 from Kansas, 6 from Iowa, and 4 from Oklahoma. And this morning, right now, today, the machine is still running. Let me tell you exactly what is on the radar right now as I'm making this video, because this is a live situation. There is an enhanced risk of severe thunderstorms across eastern Kansas and northern Oklahoma. Severe thunderstorms are expected to develop this afternoon and evening from the southern and central plains northward into the lower to mid Missouri Valley and upper Mississippi Valley. Tornadoes, large hail, and severe wind gusts will be expected. Multiple tornado watches are active right now across Kansas. Tornado Watch 136 covers 18 counties across central, south central, and southeast Kansas, including the cities of Wichita, Andover, Hutchinson, Salina, Darby, El Dorado, and Augusta. Tornado Watch 137 covers 17 counties in central and northern Oklahoma, including the cities of Oklahoma City, Norman, Enid, Ponca City, Lawton, Guthrie, Stillwater, Moore, and Mustang. Think about the size of that. Oklahoma City and its entire metro area. Under a tornado watch right now, Wichita, Kansas, under a tornado watch right now, this is not a background threat. This is an active, happening right now severe weather emergency across the central United States. The SPC has outlined that a few tornadoes are likely with a couple intense tornadoes possible, widespread large hail and isolated very large hail events to 3, 5 inches in diameter likely, and scattered damaging winds likely with isolated significant gusts to 80 miles possible. 3, 5-inch hail. That is larger than a baseball. That is hail that does not just ding your car. It smashes through windshields, punches through roofs, and hospitalizes people who are caught outside without shelter. And today, right now, that size hail is possible across eastern Kansas and northern Oklahoma. The atmosphere has ML CAPE of 2,000 to 3,000 joules per kilogram with weakening convective inhibition across Kansas, and storm relative helicity in the 400 to 450 meters squared per second squared range, which will support a continued tornado threat. Storm relative helicity of 400 to 450. For context, anything above 150 is considered a tornado favorable environment. Anything above 300 is considered a significant tornado environment. 400 to 450 is the kind of number that makes experienced meteorologists sit up straight. That is serious atmospheric spinning energy available to any storm that gets into that environment today. If you are in Kansas, especially eastern Kansas, or anywhere in Oklahoma right now, and you're not watching radar and you do not have your alerts on, please stop this video right now and go take care of that. I mean it. Come back and finish watching after you have your alerts set up. Today is not a day to be caught off guard. Let me talk about Enid, Oklahoma for a moment, because it deserves specific attention and it illustrates perfectly what this week has been. A tornado struck the Oklahoma city of Enid last night as severe storms swept through several states. The city of Enid, a city of around 50,000, said first responders were conducting emergency operations in the Gray Ridge area. At this time, there are no reports of fatalities, and only minor injuries are being reported, the Garfield County Sheriff's Office said. First responders were continuing secondary searches of locations impacted by the tornado. Enid Police Department spokesperson Cass Rains said there had been early reports of people trapped in homes and extensive damage. A spokesperson for the Oklahoma Office of Emergency Management told CBS News Thursday night that some homes were destroyed. Vance Air Force Base said it was closed until further notice due to ongoing power and water restoration efforts, and that only mission-essential personnel required to support critical operations should report for duty. Vance Air Force Base closed. An active United States Air Force installation closed by tornado damage. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt said he was praying for the Enid community. Now, the remarkable part. At least 10 people were injured with significant structural damage across multiple neighborhoods, homes destroyed, an Air Force base knocked offline, and yet, miraculously, no fatalities reported in Enid. That tells you two things. First, the warning system worked. People sheltered, people got to safe places in time. The warnings went out, people took them seriously, and lives were saved because of it. Second, and I want you to hear this clearly, the fact that nobody died in Enid does not mean the storm was small. It means people were prepared. The same storm, landing in a community where people were not prepared, watching radar, following warnings, the outcome could have been tragically different. This is exactly why every video I make comes back to the same message. Warnings save lives, but only if people receive them and act on them. Okay, today's threat is active and I've walked you through it. But I also need to prepare you for the weekend, because Saturday and Sunday are shaping up to be the most significant days of this entire stretch for the Southern Plains. The classic Great Plains severe weather outbreak is taking shape for Saturday and Sunday, April 25th and 26th, with all of the textbook atmospheric ingredients converging across Kansas, Oklahoma, North Texas, and western Arkansas to produce what forecasters are describing as a significant severe weather event, including baseball-sized or larger hail, straight-line winds exceeding 70 mm per inch, and a few strong EF2 or greater tornadoes. The engine driving this weekend's outbreak is a strengthening low-pressure system developing in the lee of the Colorado Rockies, a process known as lee cyclogenesis. This deepening surface low will pull warm and humid air northward from the Gulf of Mexico, loading the atmosphere with exceptional instability and thunderstorm fuel across the Central Plains. As dry desert air from the west collides with the moist air mass to the east along the dry line, widely scattered supercell thunderstorms are expected to erupt during the afternoon hours, both Saturday and Sunday. Let me explain what lee cyclogenesis means, because it's one of the most important concepts in Great Plains severe weather, and it keeps coming up again and again this spring. The Rocky Mountains act like a wall. When winds flow over that wall from the west, they create a spinning eddy on the eastern side, in the lee of the mountains. That spinning eddy becomes a surface low pressure system that deepens and strengthens as it moves east. And as it deepens, it does two critical things. It pulls Gulf moisture northward like a conveyor belt, and it sharpens the contrast between the warm, moist air to the east and the dry, hot air coming off the desert to the west. That contrast zone, the dry line, is where storms fire. Every classic Great Plains outbreak begins with this exact same recipe. And this weekend, that recipe is coming together with textbook precision. Two distinct threat zones are being outlined for the weekend. A northern zone covering portions of Kansas, Nebraska, and the Central Plains faces damaging gusts, large hail, and a few tornadoes. A southern zone centered across Oklahoma, North Texas, and the Texas Panhandle corridor carries the highest threat, with supercells likely. Destructive gusts, large damaging hail, and a few strong tornadoes including EF2 or stronger. The Saturday setup is being driven by that 30% severe risk area I described in earlier videos this week. And the key detail is what the SPC said about the mu-Kp environment feeding this setup. Mu-Kp values between 2,000 and 3,000 joules per kilogram with effective layer shear around 40 knots, supporting an initial supercell threat that grows upscale into bowing segments overnight, with these storms capable of producing strong winds, large hail, and QLCS tornadoes. 2,000 to 3,000 joules per kilogram of mu-Kp, on top of 40 knots of shear. On a day with Lee cyclogenesis and a sharp dry line, that is a high-end, severe weather day by any metric. Now, here's the part I really want you to focus on for Saturday specifically, because it's the detail that often catches people off guard in these setups. The afternoon is dangerous. Supercells, hail, tornadoes, all the classic storm chaser stuff that people are already on alert for. But the overnight transition is when things get most dangerous for the most people. Storm evolution in the southern sector will follow a similar progression, with discrete supercells during the initial phase, transitioning into a more linear convective mode overnight. This transition will shift the dominant hazard toward damaging wind gusts as storms consolidate and move southeast into northeast Oklahoma and southwest Missouri. When that squall line forms Saturday night, when it goes from individual supercells to a solid wall of storms racing east, you're looking at 70 to 80 mph straight line winds moving through communities at 2 or 3 in the morning. Know your shelter, have your alerts set. Do not go to sleep Saturday night without those two things in place. Now I need to look ahead, because what happens after this weekend is arguably more dangerous than what's happening right now. And I say that knowing full well that right now has an active tornado watch and a confirmed tornado from last night. The reason it may be more dangerous isn't about the atmospheric parameters, although those are very strong. It's about geography. Because starting Monday, the storm track shifts decisively southeast, out of the Central Plains, out of Kansas and Nebraska and Iowa, and into Dixie Alley. Monday, April 27th is shaping up as a significant severe weather day across much of the south and lower to mid-Mississippi Valley, with damaging wind gusts, large hail, and a few significant EF2 or stronger tornadoes all considered likely. A slight risk level 2 of 5 severe weather outlook is now in place for Monday across a large corridor stretching from the Mississippi Delta through Memphis, Nashville, and Birmingham, with the risk area extending from Pine Bluff and Clarksdale in the west through Memphis, Dyersburg, and Paducah northward to Evansville and Jackson, Missouri, and eastward through Nashville, Murfreesboro, Clarksville, Florence, Huntsville, Gadsden, Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, and Montgomery. Memphis, Nashville, Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, Huntsville, Montgomery. That is the heart of Dixie Alley. And those cities need to be paying close attention right now. Here is why Dixie Alley demands a different level of respect than the plains setup most people have been watching this week. Tornadoes in this region are often difficult to see, as they are more likely to be rain-wrapped, embedded in shafts of heavy rain, and often obscured from view by the hilly topography and heavily forested landscape. In Kansas today, storm chasers can see a tornado from 10 miles away. In Alabama or Tennessee on Monday night, the same tornado may be invisible until it is 1 mile away, hidden behind trees, behind rain, behind terrain. Arkansas, Tennessee, Mississippi, and Alabama all have a majority, greater than 50%. Of their tornado deaths occur at night. Tennessee's rate is over 73%, leading the nation. And the timing for Monday is Monday into Monday night, which means the most dangerous phase of this event is going to happen when most people are in bed, when sirens are inaudible through closed windows, when the only thing standing between a family and a tornado they cannot see is whether their phone is charged and their weather app is set up to ring like a phone call. The Fox Forecast Center noted that the severe storm threat on Monday will depend entirely on how Sunday unfolds. If severe storms are not widespread across the plains on Sunday, then more moisture and instability will be able to stream into the Mississippi Valley, potentially supporting a higher-end severe storm event. So Sunday's storm activity is literally the pressure valve that determines how bad Monday gets. If Sunday consumes the instability, Monday is a slight risk. If Sunday stays quiet, and that full reservoir of cape and moisture carries over untouched into Monday morning, and a higher-end event becomes increasingly likely. This is something I am going to be watching very closely over the next 24 to 48 hours, and I will update you as soon as the picture sharpens. I need to take 60 seconds and talk about something that has been completely overshadowed by the tornado coverage this week, because it is a genuine life safety threat affecting millions of people in a different part of the country. Right now, today, while tornadoes are dropping in Kansas and Oklahoma, gusty winds and warm, very dry conditions are leading to a critical risk of fire weather across much of the central and southern high plains through Friday. A critical risk of fire weather. That is one of the highest designations the National Weather Service issues for fire conditions. It means that any fire that starts today in the southern high plains, western Kansas, the Oklahoma and Texas panhandles, eastern Colorado, has the potential to spread with extraordinary speed and ferocity. And this is not happening in a vacuum. As of mid-March, moderate to exceptional drought conditions exist across 55% of the continental United States, with drought conditions worsening across the Great Plains. As of early April, 89% of Texas and 99% of Oklahoma were in some level of drought. Over 1 million acres across the high plains had already burned in wildfires as of March 23, 2026. Over 1 million acres burned, and it's still April. The soil is baked, the vegetation is dry as tinder. And today, strong southerly winds ahead of the cold front are gusting 40, 50, even 60 miles per hour across some of these areas. The same cold front triggering today's tornado threat to the east is simultaneously creating critical fire weather on the western side of the dry line. This is the dual nature of these spring setups in the central U.S. that most people don't think about. The dry line is literally a line between two different catastrophes: severe thunderstorms and tornadoes to the east, and catastrophic fire weather to the west. Two completely different disasters happening simultaneously along the same weather boundary. If you live in western Kansas, the Oklahoma Panhandle, or the Texas Panhandle right now, stay aware of fire reports, keep an eye on smoke, and understand that today's wind speeds could take a grass fire from nothing to catastrophic in minutes. I'm going to keep this section short because I know many of you are actively watching weather right now and do not have time for a long lecture. Here is what I need you to do. If you are in Kansas or Oklahoma right now, you are in an active tornado watch area as I'm recording this video. Pull up your radar app. Find your nearest sturdy shelter. If warnings start dropping in your county, move immediately. Do not wait to see it. Do not wait to hear it. Move when the warning says move. If you're anywhere in the I-35 corridor from Wichita south to Oklahoma City, today has a legitimate tornado threat with 3 5-inch hail and 80 mph wind gusts possible. Your window of maximum danger today is roughly this afternoon through tonight. Know your shelter. Know how you're getting alerted. For Saturday and Sunday across Kansas, Oklahoma, and North Texas, this is a high-end classic Great Plains outbreak with baseball-sized hail, EF2 capable supercells, and an overnight squall line threat. Treat it exactly as seriously as today. The afternoon brings supercells. The overnight brings a squall line. Both are dangerous. For the Mid-South, Memphis, Nashville, Birmingham, Huntsville, Tuscaloosa, and for Monday, you have the weekend to prepare. Use it. Find your shelter tonight, not Monday afternoon. Set up your overnight weather alerts tonight, not Monday evening. Tell your family, your neighbors, your elderly relatives that Monday night is a weather night in the Mid-South, and they need to be prepared. For everyone in the central and eastern U.S., subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay connected this weekend and into next week. This is not a one-day story. This is a multi-day, multi-region, multi-hazard event that is still actively evolving. Every update over the next 72 hours matters. Here's where we are as of Friday morning, April 24th, 2026. A tornado hit Enid, Oklahoma last night, destroying homes, injuring at least 10 people, and closing a United States Air Force base. Today, right now, active tornado watches cover Kansas and Oklahoma, with enhanced risk for eastern Kansas, 3 5-inch hail possible, and 80 wind gusts on the table. This afternoon and tonight, storms are developing rapidly across the Central Plains in real time. This weekend, Saturday and Sunday, a classic Lee cyclogenesis outbreak fires across the southern plains with baseball-sized hail, EF2 capable supercells, and an overnight squall line aimed at southeast Kansas, Oklahoma, North Texas, and western Arkansas. And then, as the storm track shifts southeast on Monday, Dixie Alley steps into the crosshairs, Memphis, Nashville, Birmingham, and the entire Mid-South corridor facing a significant overnight severe weather threat, with EF2 or stronger tornadoes considered likely. 7 days. Multiple states, multiple hazards. A storm sequence that has already produced 80 tornadoes in a single day, damaged an Air Force base overnight, and still has its most dangerous chapter, Monday night in Dixie Alley, yet to come. Do not let your guard down this severe weather season. Flash floods and damaging wind gusts can be just as destructive as tornadoes and often impact a much larger area. It only takes one storm striking a densely populated or vulnerable community to make this a devastating season. Stay locked in. Stay prepared. I will be back with updates as this continues to evolve. Stay safe out there. That's not a phrase I say to close a video. That is a genuine request.